Hi everyone, welcome to another video. My name is Jonathan Curtis, welcome back. Today we're talking about a really cool triple layered quintuplet groove. Something I came up with a few years ago and toy around with every now and then. I'll be honest, I've never had a chance to use it live because it's quite niche, it's quite specialist, but it's a fun way to test your ability to play different or challenging rhythms. So we're going to have a look at that today. The first thing to say is we need to understand what a quintuplet is, because a lot of people may have heard of a quintuplet but aren't particularly confident in how to play them. So put very simply, a quintuplet is known as a subdivision. A subdivision is essentially how many times we play between each beat. So if we've got a simple beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, the subdivision tells us how many times we're going to evenly play between that beat. Think of it like carving up a pizza into even-sized slices. If we cut it in half, we've got 2 slices. If we cut it into thirds, we've got 3 thirds, 4 quarters. Well, a quintuplet would be 5 fifths. We're slicing our beat into 5 equal parts. So if we are counting the beat, we're going to play 5 times between each beat. So a simple way to do this is count to 5, clap on beat 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's a little bit more to it than that, but I've done videos on theory and quintuplets in before, so feel free to go and check those out for more on the theory side of things. But for today, we're playing 5 times per beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first thing we're going to do is apply this as a simple hand-to-hand groove between the hi-hat and the snare drum. We all know the hand-to-hand 16th note groove. Right, we've all done that pretty much lesson 3, something like that. We're going to take the same principle, but instead of playing 16th notes on the hi-hat, we're going to play quintuplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, bass 2, 3, 4, 5, snare 2, 3, 4, 5, bass 2, 3, 4, 5, snare 2, 3, 4, 5. Notice because this is an odd number, my left hand is on the beat on beat 2. Right, left, right, left, right. Now the left hand comes down to the snare drum for beat 2. Left, right, left, right, left. So very slowly, very simply, it looks like this. The beat is played between the bass drum and the snare drum, and those 5 notes on the hi-hat constitute the quintuplet. Notice from a time signature point of view, this is still very much 4/4, or maybe even 2/4 to keep things simple. We're not changing the time signature here. We can still count this 1, 2, 3, 4, it's only the subdivision that changes. We're playing with an odd subdivision, which is why these are so cool. We need to treat this the same way you treated the hand-to-hand 16th note groove when you first learnt it. That's to do with coordination with that bass drum. So I'm going to groove with this for a little while, and I'm going to try those bass drums in different positions. Every single bass drum I play is going to line up with either a right hand or a left hand on that hi-hat. Already that's starting to sound really interesting, and actually, truth be told, it's not that difficult. Once you've kind of got your head around the quintuplet thing, technically it's not too difficult to play. Now just a note on that, the difficulty with quintuplets is not the technical aspect. The difficulty is feeling that 5-note rhythm. So if you are struggling with that, that's absolutely fine because it is awkward. If you are struggling with that first stage, take a bit of time to just feel and count some basic quintuplets. You don't even need a drum kit for this. You don't even need your sticks for this. Get a metronome or even just watch the hand of a clock and count to 5 every beat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1. That's why you're going to have trouble with this, if indeed you have any trouble with this. It's not because of playing, it's because of counting and feeling the rhythm. Anyway, you will notice there I was starting to throw in a little bit of movement. Sometimes that right hand comes down to the snare drum. Sometimes you can add a diddle on one of the hi-hat strokes. We've still got that same basic pattern. We can add a bit of spice to that. You've done this before. You can do exactly the same thing with your hand-to-hand 16th note groove. Anyway, it is worth spending a little bit of time with this to see if you can incorporate it into a more contextual piece. So for example, because I've said we're still in 4/4, this works nicely in sort of funk or rock or groovy situations where you might be playing something quite simple. Miss the hi-hat at the end there. But you don't need to think of these as some freaky out there thing just because they're a little bit awkward, because they're a little bit different. If you've got these comfortable, if they're under your hands and you can feel that rhythm, you can throw them into your simple 4/4 beats very effectively. But use them sparingly because these are quite specialist and you don't want to be playing quintuplets over a Michael Jackson song or something like that. Okay, so in the beginning, I said that this was a triple layered quintuplet groove. What does that mean? Well, this is layer 1. This is our first quintuplet. We are playing 16th note quintuplets. That means we've taken those 4 16th notes, 1 E under, 2 E under, and we've squeezed in a 5th. So these are 16th note quintuplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. To find our second layer, we're going to split those hands, right? We're going to take our right hand from this position and whip it across to the ride cymbal over here. Now, really, one of the really cool aspects of playing subdivisions is if you split the hands onto 2 different surfaces, you get the same subdivision on each hand, but on the note value above, right? So previously, over here, we've got a 16th note quintuplet. That bass drum playing the beat, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I play the exact same thing, but I split the hands on 2 different surfaces, I'm playing the exact same pattern at the exact same rhythm, each surface is now playing a quintuplet over 2 beats, right? So these are now 8th note quintuplets that are taking 2 quarter notes to resolve. That ride cymbal is playing 5 times over the course of 2 of those quarter note beats. That left hand is also playing 5 times, but some of them come down to that snare drum. We have now taken our quintuplet and split it in half. That 16th note quintuplet is still there because that's what our hands are playing. But now the sound source has divided it to a second layer, so we've now got an 8th note quintuplet on either hand. It is worth noticing at this stage, with our second layer, mechanically, technically, it works exactly the same way as the previous stage. Just because we're moving to a different surface with one hand doesn't mean we have to play the groove any differently. It just means we might be thrown off a little bit by the sound in the first instance. So spend a little bit of time at this second stage, like you did with the first stage, and just get comfortable with it. It starts to sound really interesting, but I'm still actually just playing that single stroke roll, feeling them as quintuplets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 2, 3, 4, 5. Even when I come around the toms, I'm just orchestrating that single stroke roll that is already there. So finally, we're going to add our third layer now. We're going to stay in this position, but this time our right hand is going to alternate between the bell and the body of the ride cymbal. So just like we did with the two hands, dividing them, we're now going to divide that right hand onto two surfaces again, which has the same effect on the quintuplet. We are now playing a quarter note quintuplet on the bell and a quarter note quintuplet on the body, and that is going to take 4 quarter notes to resolve. So like we did with the second layer, we're dividing that subdivision across 2 surfaces, and each surface is itself playing a quintuplet, but on the next note value above. So now, the quintuplet being played on the bell is going to take the entire bar to reach 5. If you count every time I play the bell, you will get to 5 just as I start again. So this is where we arrive at our third layer of the quintuplet. We've got 16th note quintuplets happening between the hands. We've got 8th note quintuplets happening between the 2 cymbals. And now we've got quarter note quintuplets happening between the bell and the body of the ride cymbal. By bringing that left hand down to the snare drum on the 2nd and 4th beats, we keep that back beat, we stay in 4/4, but we've got this really nice, really fancy, really interesting 3-layered quintuplet groove that is actually pretty easy to play. Ultimately, this is just a single stroke roll phrased as quintuplets, but we're kind of adding a bit of backbeat context to give it this nice, funky, rhythmic feel. Have fun with it. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks very much.